All right. Hello, hello, hello. We
Hello.
are back. My
Welcome
name
back.
is Abi.
My name is Laura, and you're listening to
How to housemate. How to housemate.
How to housemate.
How to do it. How the specific art of housemating. Housematery.
You didn't get taught this stuff in school, guys.
Girl, you don't get taught anything in school.
Nothing.
Well, you get taught, Pythagoras and very important things like that.
But not how to housemate.
Not
and
how to housemate.
That's where we are now.
Yeah, do you know something? I remember when my oldest sibling was in 6th year. I don't know. For those of you who don't know, Laura is from England, so her schooling system is completely. Lord knows what's happening. In who? What?
In who?
But no, like the last week high school type thing.
Yes.
And
I
know you know, but just in case people wonder
any
why I'm
other
trying
English
to
listeners.
Yeah.
Or listeners from around the world.
Got you. This is from around the world. Girl, we're international. Anyways, Abigail, get back on track. So when my older sibling was in, they had sock ed type thing. They would teach these kids how to they had sessions of how to budget. You're gonna do a weekly Tesco shop and use your £20 budget. Do you really? And what we did in sock ed, we sat there and did nothing. And I'm like, girl, sock ed teachers, high school teachers, you guys need to teach your students how to flatmate.
We didn't have sock ed, whatever that is.
Yeah.
What does sock stand for?
Sock. Hey, what is what? Social education.
Wow, Scotland is so much more progressive than
social education.
England.
We used to do, but we didn't do. I think you're supposed to do stuff we would do a lot of stuff social issues going on,
right?
And that kind of thing.
That was PSHE. For
yes, yeah, PSHE.
PSHE.
But
we didn't learn life skills. We learned about gender.
That. Yeah, that kind of stuff. We do that kind of stuff, but as we got older, we did stuff or some people did stuff how to budget, how to.
Wow, that's really useful.
Yeah, that was quite useful, but they didn't do that for us. Anyways, no. That's why we're here to teach education. You the art.
The what?
We're definitely not the most qualified people to be teaching you how to housemate.
I just think the people who make the most mistakes are the people who give the best advice. I think that's.
You said that we make lots of mistakes.
Not the most mistakes, but the people who are very reflective. I think we're both very self-reflective
and
people.
And in our short time of
together,
living and flatting,
September, October, November, 3 months.
We've been doing this for such a long time.
We've been living together for so long.
Yeah, so long. But in that time, we've had so many things happen.
We have. It's been a full pact. You don't actually realize how long 3 months is in reality. That's a quarter of a year. That's a long time, really.
Quarter of a year. Do you know what I think is mind-boggling?
What?
We're recording this in the end of November. Mm-hmm. So I wonder when
this will get out.
Good girl, this could be June when you hear this. but we're almost 2020 is almost over.
It's coming to an end.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, everyone's got their different feelings about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually not true. I think everyone feels very similar about 2020.
Yeah.
But I think it's been a year of learning, a lot of mistakes. I think, and as I was saying earlier, I think the people who make
the biggest mistakes.
I
kind of am more. I think 2020 has been hard, full of hard things, but I don't think there's been a year that has changed me for the better as much as
the way 2020 has.
Yeah. She was brutal, but she helped me up in the end.
She was brutal, but she has done a lot for us.
She has. Thank you, 2020. I was gonna say we love you, but we really don't.
No, you're like that. You're like that teacher that is really strict, and you don't really want to spend too much time with them. But
you get
in the end, when you've left and you've flown the nest like we have, you realize how beneficial that teacher was.
2020 is your cranky maths teacher.
2020 is the teacher who made you check your uniforms as if you're in the army. Don't know if you had.
Yes, 2020 is the teacher who would check your homework planner and if your mum signed it.
Yeah, and if it was forged, they would know. They would know if you forged it or not. They're like, "That's not your mum's signature, is it, Laura?"
Literally, 2020 is the teacher who doesn't let you borrow anyone else's pencil but your own. Mm-hmm. That's 2020.
That's 2020.
You don't like them in the moment, but you're like
you realize in the end they've taught you a lot.
You're like, okay, thank you.
They got you
Anyways, moving on from that
Sidetrack.
humongous detour.
You'll come to know that that's a big part of.
That's what's just when you come onto our journey. That's what you're gonna see. Sorry, but what are we talking about today?
Do you know? I've forgotten.
I'll tell you.
Let me just check on my device.
I'll tell you what we're talking about today. Last episode, if you've been listening with us, we talked extensively about our Instagram at We Are the Bleach Boys. If you're not following, please go ahead and follow. A lot of great content, a lot of funny stuff happening. But what we did not too long ago was we asked our followers on We Are the Bleach Boys to send us their flatmate stories, dilemmas, stuff. We want to know what's happening in
your life,
flats around, around the block. So we what we've done is we've collated some of them and we're going to talk about them on the podcast. And today, Laura,
I think one of the most interesting ones that came up was about food, and we talked a little bit about food last time.
We talk about food a lot.
We talk about food a lot. We like food. Everyone likes food. But this one says, flat of 4 girls who all love baked goods, which means they don't stay around for very long. So this kind of cropped up some interesting points about food sharing, what you do about food sharing.
Can you read that one more time just so I can get the whole...
Flat of 4 girls who all love baked goods, which means they don't stay around for very long. Crying face emoji.
Crying face emoji.
Crying face emoji.
See,
full stop.
Oh, see the
period.
Period. The emojis and the punctuation changes everything. Because it can be one of those. Because so this is the conversation we're going to be having today. This kind of sparks it. There's a difference between consensual food sharing and non-consensual food sharing, otherwise known as stealing.
Yeah, otherwise known as theft.
You can't just be, girl, like some people, like, I think, judging from this commenter's tone used in their...
and the emoji, it kind of seems that they're the victim of this baked good stealing. Well, I feel like this comment seems to be more about baked goods being communal and them going too quickly. So, when you offer someone something and you're like, you have an amount that you expect them to take, and when they overstep that, it's a bit like, but then you can't blame them because you offered them it. Like, do you know? You know that feeling?
That's how you feel about me?
No. I just think in general life, I've offered I'm quite a generous person, and I just like offering people stuff. Yeah. And then sometimes it's not really their fault because you could have said, would you like 2 biscuits instead of would you like a biscuit? Would you
like 3.5 biscuits?
Would you like 3.5 biscuits? And if you're not specific, then
they're gonna do whatever.
They are gonna do what they feel confident doing.
They're gonna do you dirty, and that's not a knock against them. It's just like
you
did offer them.
If I'm offered oh, Laura, you can have some sweets. I'm not gonna have some sweets. I'm gonna
have a lot of sweets. Yeah. I'm gonna take a good handful.
Handful of sweets.
I'm gonna enjoy those sweets.
The other day, you offered me some sweets, right? And I put them like in the belt of my leggings because I didn't have a pocket, so I just put them there. Anyway, I was sitting and I completely forgot they were there, and I went to the toilet and they just went everywhere, and they were so warm because they were just underneath my hot water bottle. There was a lot of sweets, and I just ate them all in one, and they melted because they were really warm. I'd just been in bed typing. And then
I remember because I gave you.
They just went.
Oh, okay. Did you still eat them?
I did.
Good job. Proud of you.
They were nice, but there was a lot, and you gave them to me, so
Well, this is the one thing about sharing food with you is when it comes to sweeties, Laura doesn't like red flavored things. If it is red or pink flavored, so like cherry, strawberry.
Cherry, I can kind of deal with a bit.
Strawberry, raspberry,
and no-nos.
It's just not happening. Whereas, I really enjoy the red, purples, pinks. I think they're really nice. Black currant. No. See the black wine gum. That's I don't know what it is, black currant or something.
You're already going wrong with wine gums right there. Wine gums are the devil's sweet. No, how do people enjoy them?
They're so good, chewy and and they have a different type of alcohol in it. So this one's port. Ooh, gin. Ooh, stout. Ooh.
I don't eat them that way. I eat them I've just eaten a wine gum. Oops.
Oops, I did it again.
I ate a wine gum. Yeah, no.
It's
Don't.
so funny.
That's
why it's easy. In that sense, it's kind of easy to share food with you.
Yeah,
Because,
I feel like we have similar tastes, but we also have very different tastes. I know I was talking to you about this the other day. I think you like really strong flavors, is it?
Yeah. Well,
or was it the other? I can't
no,
remember.
I do. I think my tongue has been desensitized over the year.
Oh no, yes, you. That's what I meant to say. You sorry, you haven't. The sense of flavor that you have is not like you like strong stuff because you can't really tell.
I think I appreciate stronger. Well, what happened was you bought me tea
Mm-hmm.
for my birthday, which is very, very nice. Thank you. Very special. You know, one of these really, really nice special flowery teas, and
it was like a little bud, and it opened up inside.
It was
glass.
really cool.
Really
I still have one. I might have one tonight. But
special treat.
What it was when I put the flower in the cup and I sipped it initially, it hadn't brewed enough for me to be able to taste it. But you tasted it and you were like, "Oh, it's so flavorful."
Yes.
And I was like, "Girl, what are you eating? This tastes like water."
I just think I don't know. But then again, that's different with olives as well. We have had the odd argument about olives. Not really argument.
Oh my gosh!
A little tiff.
Do you know something, Laura? I was actually really hoping you said olives because I have a confession.
What?
She has not heard this. I promise you, this was not rehearsed. She has not heard this. This is what we're saying about consensual food sharing and non-consensual food sharing. Okay, Laura. See, when we first moved into the flat, and you had that massive jar of green olives. This was before we started really sharing food or even like talking about sharing food or whatever. There was a night where I woke up at like 1 or 2 in the morning. And I was really hungry.
And they were there.
And I just ate.
Looking at you in the face.
I literally, and let me tell you something. At this point, I hadn't become an olive fanatic. This girl has made me an olive fanatic, and at this point, I wasn't. But it was 1 a.m. I was not about to cook at 1 in the morning.
No.
Out of bed, so I just ate a bunch of your olives. I'm so sorry.
How could you? How could you? I trusted you. No.
I'm so sorry.
I'm pretty sure I had said you could have them. I'm pretty sure I had bought that big jar and I was like, I'm not going to be able to eat all of these. So.
And you didn't, sweetheart. I ate quite a lot.
Yeah.
I ate quite a lot that night.
I go through my phases. Sometimes I'm really into olives, sometimes I'm not. And you're into black olives, I'm into green. So
olives, child. But then this is a good point though. Like, if you're gonna non-consensually share food, so if you're gonna steal your flatmate's food, you need to apologize. Perhaps not on a podcast.
This is old history though. Like I probably knew that those olives were going down quicker than I anticipated. But
what I would never do is steal like a cooked meal that you had made. I think that's listen.
That is a boring.
I think there's been times where you've used one of my onions. It's whatever. It's an onion.
I forget whose onion.
Or like we literally don't. It's an onion. Who cares? Or like if you were to use like.
Clove of my garlic.
Or even if you were to eat some of my fruit or eat some of my rice or whatever. But if I had made like a meal and I put
slaved away in the kitchen
and I put the leftovers in the fridge.
I would never do that.
Can I tell you a story?
Who does that? I'm sure someone
Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story about this. Is delving a little bit into my halls experience, but of course we're gonna my past, my dark history. No, I loved halls. There's just a lot of stories to come out of it. But this was so tragic. What happened was I lived in a flat that was kind of a little bit of a party flat. A little bit of, there's a lot of people coming in, coming out. This was last year before anyone started talking about COVID. COVID didn't exist in this flat.
Pre-COVID time.
This was pre-COVID time. We were vibing hard. It was a good time. But we had people over and, we were doing whatever. And one of my flatmates had, so my flatmate, he used to meal prep in advance. So he'd make a bunch of food, put it in these like, those containers that are like, they have separate compartments for different foods. He'd put his pasta and his chicken and everything was, yeah, and he had like 3 or 4 of them. Put them in his fridge and he'd take it out to the freezer and he's very organized with that and he was on the game, right? And one night there was this guy in our flat and he's not our flatmate. He does not live in our flat. He hardly ever came around to our flat. But he went into our fridge, saw that someone had meal prepped food, took it and ate it.
That is just,
we spent days afterwards being like, what kind of animal?
Yeah, like, how do you walks into someone else's flat
and eats their food out the fridge?
Their food, like, I've accidentally walked into someone else's flat before. But I've never gone into their fridge and thought, let me help myself to their food.
But it wasn't like they thought that they were in their flat.
No, but that's even worse.
They knew like this person was at our flat.
Deliberately,
like they were there, I think, partying or whatever.
It was planned. It was, what's the word?
It was premeditated.
Premeditated food gobbling.
And he literally went into the fridge, saw someone had made, like I said, slaved over their food and took it out of the fridge, ate it. And I was like, so if you're listening, whoever this person is, you know fine well who you are, right? I just hope you are sorry.
I'm pretty sure they're sitting listening to this podcast specifically right now and turning themselves into the food authorities.
They are, and they're like, I'm a food gobbler. I'm so sorry, I'm a food gobbler.
Like walk into other people's flats and eat their prepared food that they've made.
I just remember being like, and my flatmate,
chicken as well. Was it chicken?
Yeah, chicken and pasta.
Chicken takes
and
time.
He was like so like, I don't even think violated was the right word. Like he was just like so hurt. He was like, how do you come into my house
and eat my prepared food?
Eat my already prepared food, and then like I think just feel no shame about it and be like, yeah, I did it. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
But then
we make enemies. It's not worth it. Just prepare your own food.
Yeah, man. But then you have to ask, like, as well. We're talking about food sharing, consensual versus non-consensual within a flat context. What would you say the boundaries are between sharing food, things like that?
I feel like I'm not the best person. I don't think many people are the best people to discuss this because I'm sure we've all stolen some food without someone's consent. Even if it's just a bit of garlic powder.
What? That doesn't count as food stealing.
I felt very guilty for stealing my flatmate's garlic powder
in first year. In
first year, yeah. I'm sorry if you're listening. I'm sorry. I used your garlic powder a lot, but
I think spices are the one thing that I would call an exception.
Will you though? Because when we moved in, I started organising everything, and you were like, Laura, I've just noticed all my spices are slowly moving into your little container, which is a shared container, by the way.
This is what I'm saying. I didn't know that container was shared. That's why I was like, girl.
I wouldn't leave it out on the counter. I wouldn't leave it out on the counter if it wasn't for all of us.
Okay.
Although olive oil, you're welcome to use my olive oil.
Oh, really? Okay.
But yeah, you're welcome to use it, but just be sparing because I can't have this.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But thank you. We're discussing this now.
We're just
discussing food sharing now. I think, no, in general, it's okay. It's not okay, but it don't feel so guilty and torn up about it if you do steal something. But if it's easily replaceable, if it's something that, like, if it's food they've made, then it's, what are you doing? Go back home and get some manners from your mama.
Get your mum to teach you.
Yeah, manners from your mama, because, boy, no.
No, it's not alright.
But if it's something that you can repurchase for them, or...
Especially if it's very inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you steal a clove of garlic.
Yeah,
I don't really expect you to.
I don't think anyone's going to notice.
You took one clove out of my what they call bulb.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my bulb of garlic. How dare you?
Yeah, I've stole cheese before.
I stole your cheese before.
Did you?
Yeah. Which is actually so crazy because A, I'm lactose intolerant, and B, I don't even like cheese.
That risotto you ate last night, man.
So full of lactose, but you know something. I think you're changing me food wise.
I really am. I feel like I've had such an influence on your food tastes and what you eat.
I mean, I like olives. I didn't really eat before I started living with you.
No.
Cheese.
Olives are just a staple in the home. You have to have olives. Drop them on a salad and make the salad pop.
She makes a very, very good pasta salad.
Don't even talk to me about that pasta.
But no, let's go back to like the original dilemma, which was this person's baked goods.
Oh, yes.
I have a few questions. So if this person wants to like message us back when they hear the podcast, cool. But because what it sounds like is like you're saying, they're making baked goods.
Mm-hmm.
They're making their own baked goods, and then their flatmates are like taking it. So maybe it's a matter of communication.
Yeah, because it's okay to set boundaries on how much of something you are allowing, because if you it's okay to be generous. Like it's lovely to be generous. I think it builds friendships, builds bonds.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are uncomfortable with them having 3 cakes instead of 1, then just say,
like, yo,
hey, I've left a cake out for you, and then put the others away so they're not like in the communal area. I find if you put anything, we had like a little island in our halls.
Mm-hmm.
If you put anything there, most likely people are just going to assume that it's communal. So if you really have a problem with people taking stuff, just try and keep it in your cupboard. Most people won't go into your cupboard, but unless they're a thief and a fiend, then they might. You never know. that guy might come into our flat and start
break
eating
in and start
eating
meals. How if he would? Oh, he can try.
He can try. He doesn't know where we live. It's fine.
But if you give them their pre-portioned amount of cake or biscuits or whatever, and they continue to like, when like you make a bunch of cookies or something and you pop into the kitchen, oh, have another one,
and they're gone.
That's a different thing. Like that's different altogether. Do you not think that's very like?
It's hard. I mean, I don't do much baking.
Yeah, I was gonna say what bothers me most is that you guys have like the willpower to bake more than someone is stealing it.
I made some lemon pots last night and they still haven't set, so
Yeah, they were very good. We ate unset lemon pots as we watched Black Mirror. It was nice.
Yeah, Flat Friday.
So that's what I'm saying. Flat Fridays in that context, food sharing is fine because it's like. I think ultimately this comes to, and this isn't an issue about food, it's an issue about boundaries. Like you just have to be able to say, yo, I'm happy for you to have this food, but I'm not happy for you to have this much or this type of food or whatever. Because it's like
you got to be specific with people because people will push you, people will test you, people will find out your weaknesses, what things.
Whoa, are we still talking about food? It sounds like.
Yes, Abi, I'm very passionate about food. It's a very big part of my life.
I thought you were talking. This sounds like you're talking about nuclear warfare now.
Like, it is. It's very similar
to
that.
Test you.
They push you. They will test you. They will find your weaknesses. They will know what foods that are most precious to you, and they will try and take them.
Yep. And that's not it. That's not what you want.
No. So yeah,
but I just think that's the way to do it personally. Again, I think the bigger issue is that you're baking, fam. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, the willpower to bake. Like,
it's just a bit, it's just a bit mad.
Extra.
But ultimately, like I said,
I commend you because
it's not my thing.
It's not my thing either. But I do want to get into it. I've got some recipes off my mum.
Oh really?
Yo,
I've been saying this. I think you should tell your mom to come and bake all the amazing things that she's talking about.
I've tried, but she just sends me the recipe instead. She's like, make it yourself.
Because here's the thing as well, like, mum food and your food are not the same food.
No, it doesn't even matter if I follow it exactly. It will never be mum food.
It won't be the same.
No.
Never, ever, ever, ever. Never, ever. So what's our final consensus? Just like boundaries.
Set boundaries, be specific.
And stop baking.
Stop baking.
Don't do it.
No, bake, guys. But just
ready, steady,
just
bake.
know that people are inherently greedy and they love food. And so when you make a big batch of something and they see it's available, they're gonna want to have their share. So if you're not comfortable, like mostly when I bake, I'm just like, have as much as you want.
Or if those two things fail as well, invest in a lockbox.
A lockbox if you want to be extra.
Can you imagine someone putting their cooked food in a locked box?
Just a big pile of spaghetti just wobbling around in this locked box.
Child,
I do that with cheese, honestly, but you don't like cheese.
The petty within me would do it. 100%. I'd be like,
we just don't
find a way.
I don't think we have problems with it, really.
Except that time, like I said, I stole your olives.
Yeah, but that was consensual.
Have you ever stolen my food? Ever?
I'm trying to think of occasions, probably. I've definitely stole like your onions.
Yeah.
That's like a normal thing.
Yeah.
I've stolen. I've had some of your sunflower oil.
That's not stealing.
I feel like that is stealing.
No, it's
I'm not meant to have sunflower oil. Like that's not really meant for me. But I had.
No, but the reason that you can't have sunflower oil is not a flat reason.
No. But you had the sunflower oil, and I wanted to cook.
So here's the other thing. Make sure your definition of stealing is the same. Because
True.
My definition of stealing is this thing belongs to Laura. It's like the amount of times I've stolen your biscuits, I've stolen your olives. Like that's like, but stealing my spices and onions, that's not really, not really stealing.
Okay, but Encona though, Encona. Encona is a type of hot sauce. It's my favorite hot sauce.
I use a lot.
And
of that.
she drowns her eggs in Encona. And I look at it and I'm like, Abby, that's half gone. She's like, I'll buy the next bottle. So like you can steal as long as
you replace.
As long as you replace.
Communication.
This
is it. Communicate your boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Communicate it and then be like, listen.
I honestly think every problem can be solved with telling the person what you need and what you want.
Like if you make 8 muffins and you're like, yo, only eat 2 because it's 8. And if they eat more than that, you should be like, why are you eating my muffins for?
Yeah, because I think
communicate it.
People will understand why you're precious with your baked goods.
Because it takes a long time to bake stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine?
It's a day's slaving.
Can you imagine baking for like 3 hours? Someone else comes and eats all of it.
Yeah.
I'll be mad too.
Baking is mad. Like the reward is 10 minutes of gorgeousness, but 3 hours of slaving in the kitchen.
Yeah, and then like when
just
you
for your flatmates to steal it.
You know you have to like let it set and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and all that
depends
stuff.
what you're making, but yeah.
But yeah, that's what we think. I think you just need to tell your flatmates, listen, I don't like it when you all up my biscuits like that. Like,
if that is the situation, obviously we don't have very specific.
Maybe we're reading too much into this. Maybe the emoji and the full stop was just for like comedic effect, and we're like, listen, this is what you have to do. But yeah, that's what we think. If this person wants to message us, like we said, we are the Bleach Boys. Send us a message about what the situation is currently with your baked goods, or if you're
changes.
Yeah, tell us if anything changes. But if you're old-fashioned, you can email us at Rebreak Speaks and then just put House of Housemate in the what's that thing called? What's it like the subject?
The subject of the email.
Or you can just say, "I'm moving out." Baked goods, and we'll know who you are. I will know who you are, and I'll read that email. But yeah, if you ever want to send us any more emails about anything else going on in your flats,
shoot a message.
Food related, money related, cleaning, whatever it's about.
Cleaning related. That's an interesting topic.
We need to do that.
Yeah, that'll come up.
Yeah.
We haven't quite napped that one.
Really? Okay, we'll talk about this another podcast. But yeah, no. Thanks for listening, and. This is How to Housemate, and like you said, get in touch. We want to know what's happening in your houses, in your flats, whether you're a student, whether you're older, whatever it is. Even if you're 60 living with your kids, let us know what's happening in your households. We want to know.
Especially during this lockdown period, this pandemic.
I feel like it's going to be a lot of stories from lockdown.
Yeah, exactly. And people are in their homes more often, so there's more to tell.
Yeah.
More to tell. So get in touch.
Anyways, that's it from us. All right. See you in the next one.
Bye.